Guys, I don't know if you've heard, but the Welsh language is problematic. A recent study has found that Welsh is exclusionary to those what can't speak it. Welsh is already a declining language, which makes it very peculiar to invest £51,000 into highlighting it as a threat. What would be the point in going after a small language that's already under siege? Unless the idea were to snuff out the residual hallmarks of an identifiable ethnic people while the going was good. No real surprise to anybody, because this is the way that cultural genocide always advances. Understand that the Welsh language is an epitaph of the earlier inhabitants of the island. Dialect tells us something about the way a national ethnic group has developed, canonized in idioms, place names, and colloquialisms. Vocabulary is always a primary index of a people's identity. To the outsider, then, it's very possible that there is a perceived purity to the language. One of the reasons that Old English, the Nordic sagas and runes are treated as toxic is because they betray a much clearer and definably Germanic origin. And the closer you are to the ethnic source, the harder it is to defend the fiction of the global village. Because of the way English has travelled the world courtesy of its soldiers, sailors and explorers, remnants of our language stretch almost to every corner of the world. Naturally, that makes it the alpha of the languages, but Welsh is unique in that it is very locally contained, and that makes it ineligible as a global candidate. Languages that are more esoteric to the common ear pose the problem of inaccessibility. The inarguable truth of humanity's great melting pot risks looking defective. Thus, in the face of native languages, multiculturalism faces a constant crisis of legitimacy. The survival of forced multiracial communitarianism depends entirely on the mother tongue being generic. But with Welsh, it's not a language you can just spread on a cracker and hand out to your friends. Hence, white supremacy. What they mean by that is that Welsh has not transmitted beyond its national borders. The vocabulary is very much regional, which means there's a discernible link between the people and the place, between the people and the soil, the blood and the soil. Here's the thing, guys. I think there's some truth to this, and it's a truth we ought to capitalise on. It's not incorrect to say that native cultures, be it dialect or custom, do uphold exclusivity. The Arts Council think they're being so worldly and fashionable with content like this, but the joke's on them, because all they've really done here is agree with us. Whatever you think of the research, for whatever that's worth, what they've just delivered is evidence of the unsuitability of immigrants for British life. Language that's obscure and elusive to the foreign ear exasperates the gap between those who belong and those who do not. Now, we know their intention is to insult and degrade us. Nevertheless, that's kind of what they've inadvertently confirmed, that there is a spirit to the Welsh nation that cannot be simply tapped into and circulated. Language is one of the defining factors of membership. The opposition provides us with nothing but evidence that reinforces the nationalist position, the proof that foreign newcomers remain alien, estranged, opposed and in constant conflict, and that membership is not a negotiable asset. Smothering the Welsh language will never adequately atone for the essential truth of non-belonging. Cheers, Arts Council, you've done us a real solid there.
We still got warm in our country lanes. I sing the same old song, hear me call your name.
In Wlad Vinadau, land of my fathers, is not merely a national anthem, but also the epitome of what Welshmen feel about this land of hills and mountains which have profoundly affected its history. For they have always provided Wales with a natural defence against attack from outside. The isolation of rugged heights and narrow valleys has kept the Welsh people, the Welsh culture and the Welsh language alive since the dawn of British history, through turbulent centuries when might was right.